Hi everyone, this is Miss Sarah. I'm going to read the next 3 chapters to our My First Book Club book, Miss Child Has Gone Wild. In the first 3 chapters that we read the other day, we finally met Miss Child. And she is kind of wild, isn't she? She's carrying around a snake. And if you weren't here, she is actually there to announce to the students that they won a field trip to the local zoo for having the cleanest classroom in the building. So here we go. Chapter 4, My Zoo Buddy. I'm going to move. Field trips are cool because you get to leave school. The only field trips that aren't cool are the ones where they take you on a field trip to a field. Going to an open field is lame. The next day, everybody was excited about our trip to the zoo. My mom packed me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Emily brought in a camera so she could take pictures of the animals. We all had to turn in a sheet of paper our parents signed that said if we get attacked by a bear or something, our parents can't sue the school or the zoo. While we were getting ready to leave for the field trip, Miss Hannah, our art teacher, came into the class. She told us she would be coming along on the trip as a chaperone. In case you don't know French, a chaperone is a grown-up who tells everybody to stop talking. Miss Hannah's art program was almost canceled because of budget cuts, so now she has to do other stuff besides teach art, like go on field trips. Mr. Granite told us that we would have to have a zoo buddy so we wouldn't get lost at the zoo. Yo, AJ, do you want to be my zoo buddy? Alexia asked me. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I had to think fast. It would be cool to be zoo buddies with Alexia, but I knew the guys would make fun of me if I was zoo buddies with a girl. I thought and I thought and I thought so hard that I thought my head was going to explode. In the end, I didn't have to decide who would be my zoo buddy. Mr. Granite did. Emily, you and Alexia will be zoo buddies, he said. Michael and Ryan are zoo buddies, and AJ, you will be zoo buddies with Andrea. Ugh! Disgusting! Andrea looked at me with this big smile on her face. Arlo, you and I are going to be zoo buddies, she said. She calls me by my real name because she knows I don't like it. Ooh, said Ryan. AJ and Andrea are zoo buddies. They must be in love. When are you 2 zoo buddies going to get married? Asked Michael. Alexia was looking at Andrea. She had on a mean face and had her arms crossed in front of her. I'll show you the picture. She must have been mad that Andrea was going to be my zoo buddy. Or maybe she just had to go to the bathroom. It's time to get on the bus, said Miss Hannah. Single file, everyone. Don't forget to bring along your lunch, said Mr. Granite. Alexia was the line leader, and she skateboarded down the ramp in front of the school. I guess she skateboards everywhere. The rest of us had to walk 1,100,000 miles to where the bus was parked. Bingle boo, said Mrs. Cormel, our school bus driver. Limpus cadoodle. Mrs. Cormel doesn't talk like regular people. She invented her own secret language. Bingle boo means hello. Limpus cadoodle means sit down. Mrs. Cormel is not normal. That might be a title of one of his other books. We all piled onto the bus. I had to sit next to my zoo buddy, Andrea. Isn't this exciting, Arlo? She asked. Don't you just love field trips? Andrea was rubbing her hands together, which is what people do when they're excited. There they are on the bus. There's Miss Cormel. It's what they do when they're excited about something, and nobody knows why. No, I replied. Andrea gets excited about everything. If a grown-up told her we were going to go outside and stare at a pile of dirt all day, she would be rubbing her hands together with excitement. Oh, I hope they have elephants at the zoo, Andrea told me. Did you know that some elephants are 13 feet tall and weigh over 15,000 pounds? Everybody knows that, I lied. You should never let a know-it-all like Andrea know that she knows something that you don't. That's the first rule about being a kid. Elephants also spend up to 16 hours a day eating, Andrea said. That's my mossy. So does your face, I told her. Andrea probably looked up elephants in her encyclopedia at home. What is her problem? Why can't an elephant fall on her head? I had to listen to Andrea tell me everything she knew about elephants for the whole bus ride. I thought I was going to die. Finally, after riding 1,100,000 miles, we got to the zoo. Miss Child was waiting for us. She came over to the bus and led us up to a room where we put our backpacks. Then she passed out name tags so she could pretend she knew our names when she talked to us. Do you have elephants at the zoo? Asked little Miss I Know Everything About Elephants. Oh, yes, replied Miss Child. Andrea jumped up and down with excitement like she was opening birthday presents. Before we start your tour, Miss Child said, I want to talk to you for a few minutes about our zoo. We don't believe that animals should be locked up in cages. Blah, 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 blah. All our animals live in an environment that is made to resemble their natural habitat. Blah, 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 blah. We need to respect all living creatures. Blah, 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 blah. There is nothing separating you from the animals here, so you need to be careful at all times. Blah, 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 blah. When will this end? Blah, 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 blah. Make her stop. Blah, 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 blah. Miss Child talked for 1,100,000 minutes about how wonderful animals are. It was really boring. I just wanted to see some cool animals, not listen to some lady talk about them. I love animals, Miss Child finally said. Do you love animals too? Everybody except Emily raised their hand. I'm allergic to animals with fur, she said. Dogs, cats, ferrets. That was true. One time, Neil, the nude kid, brought his pet ferret, Mr. Wiggles, to school. It got out of its cage and was running all around the school for the whole day. But then, by the time we found it in Emily's hat, we had voted Mr. Wiggles president of the school. Emily is probably even allergic to her own shadow. Miss Child told us to go around in a circle and tell something about our pets. I have a dog named Buttons, I said when it was my turn. Tell us something interesting about Buttons, Miss Child said. There really wasn't anything interesting to say about Buttons. He was just a plain old dog, but I had to say something. Well, I said, sometimes Buttons poops on the floor. Everybody laughed because I said poop. If you ever want to make somebody laugh, just go up to them and say poop. It works every time. No one knows why. Oh, that's too bad that your dog poops on the floor, said Miss Child. What does your mother do? Well, she poops in the bathroom, I said. Duh! Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. Next, it was Andrea's turn. After school, I earned money by dog sitting, she said. You sit on dogs? I asked. That's weird. Why would anyone want to sit on a dog? I don't sit on dogs, Arlo, Andrea told me. I take care of dogs when their owners aren't home. It's like babysitting. You sit on babies too? I asked. Isn't that against the law? Andrea got all mad. I knew that she didn't sit on dogs or babies, but it's fun to make her mad. Chapter 5, Binky the Elephant. Finally, it was time for us to explore the zoo. We don't want anyone to get lost, said Miss Child, so everyone hold hands with your zoo buddy. Andrea looked at me and held out her hand. Hold my hand, Arlo, she said, smiling. Huh, no way, I said. I'm not holding your hand. You have to. Miss Child said so. I looked at Miss Child. She gave me one of those grown-up looks. I held Andrea's hand. Ugh, disgusting. Alexia had to hold hands with crybaby Emily. She didn't look too happy about it. Michael had to hold hands with Ryan. They didn't like it either. Nobody likes to hold hands. That's the first rule of being a kid. Would you like to go visit Elephant Alley? Asked Miss Child. Yeah, everyone said. Even Mr. Granite and Miss Hannah were excited to see the elephants. I love elephants, said Andrea. Then why don't you marry one? I told her. We all followed Miss Child to the elephant alley. Two elephants were lumbering around. They were cool. Everyone was oohing and eyeing. There was a big ditch that separated the people from the elephants so they couldn't charge us and step on our heads and trample us to death. This is Winky and Binky, said Miss Child. They come from Thailand. Some elephants are 13 feet tall and weigh over 15,000 pounds. See, I told you, Andrea whispered in my ear. Miss Child climbed over the ditch and jumped right into Elephant Alley. Isn't that dangerous to be so close to the elephants? Asked Mr. Granite. Not at all, Miss Child replied. The animals are our friends. We should love all living creatures. Blah, 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 blah. I guess AJ doesn't like to listen to her talk very much. She went over to a shed and took out a big easel and some buckets and paintbrushes. She dipped a brush into one of the buckets and put it in Binky's trunk. What's he doing? Asked Emily. Binky likes to paint, said Miss Childs. It relaxes him. Oh, that's ridiculous, said Miss Hannah. Elephants can't paint. Miss Hannah knows a lot about art, so I figured she was right. But then the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. Binky took the paintbrush, pressed it against the paper on the easel, and drew a thick blue line all by himself. Wow, we all said, which is Mom upside down, by the way. None of us thought an elephant would be able to do that. Binky carefully painted another line that crossed over the first line. Everyone was oohing and eyeing. Maybe elephants can paint, said Miss Hannah. How does he do that? Well, elephants have more than 40,000 muscles in their trunk, said Miss Child as she dipped Binky's brush into the bucket of paint for him. Binky painted more lines on the easel. Some of them were straight, and some of them were curvy. It looked like he was actually trying to draw a picture of something. What's he painting? Asked Andrea. It looks like a picture of an elephant, shouted Michael. It's a self-portrait, said Miss Hannah. He's painting himself. It's beautiful. She was right. With a few more lines, Binky the elephant painted a picture of an elephant. It was the most amazing thing in the history of the world. We all clapped when he dropped the brush on the ground and lumbered away from the easel. And Mr. Dan Gutman puts a side note in here, and it says if you want to go see real elephants painting for real, you can go to www.elephantartcom/catalog/homepage.php. I'm going to put it up here so you can see that. What does the zoo do with the paintings? Asked Miss Hannah. Oh, we just throw them away, said Miss Child. May I keep one as a souvenir? Asked Miss Hannah. Certainly, Miss Child said. She took the paper off the easel and climbed over the ditch so she could hand it to Miss Hannah. This painting is priceless, Miss Hannah whispered to us excitedly. You mean it isn't worth anything? I asked. Just the opposite, AJ, Miss Hannah told me. I think Binky could be the next Picasso. This is a rare masterpiece. It could be worth millions of dollars. Really? We all said. Oh, I bet I could sell this to an art dealer, Miss Hannah said. And if I donated the money to the school, I could save the art program. Wow. Miss Hannah should get the Nobel Prize for that one. That's a prize they give out to people who don't have any bells. Chapter 6. Lulu the Gorilla. Let's go meet the gorillas, Miss Child said excitedly. She led us over a little wooden bridge to an area called Gorilla Gardens. There was a concrete wall like the inside of a swimming pool that curved down to where a gorilla was sitting. It was swatting flies and making grunting noises. It looked scary. Miss Child slid down the concrete wall on her bottom. Isn't it dangerous to be so close to a gorilla? Emily asked. Of course not, said Miss Child. Gorillas are almost like humans. They share nearly 98% of our DNA. Gorillas are our friends, blah, 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 blah. This is my friend Lulu. Miss Child put her hands in front of Lulu's face and moved her fingers around. What are you doing? Asked Mr. Granite. I'm talking to Lulu, said Miss Child. Lulu understands sign language? I said, that is cool. Miss Child is sort of like Dr. Dolittle, said Michael. She can talk with the animals just like him. Lulu is very smart, Miss Child told us. She understands more than 1,000 words. That's more than some kids I know, said Andrea. Oh, snap, said Ryan. Lulu made some signs with her hands. What did she say? Asked Alexia. Lulu says she wants to tell you kids a joke, translated Miss Child. Ooh, I like jokes, said Alexia. Lulu made some more signs with her hands. What did she say? Asked Neil, the nude kid. Lulu asked, here you go. Why did the raisin go out with the prune? Said Miss Child. Why? We all asked. Lulu made some signs. Because he couldn't find a date, translated Miss Child. We all groaned. I don't get it, said Emily. That's a dumb joke, I said. Lulu made some more signs with her hands. Lulu wants to tell you another joke, translated Miss Child. Lulu made some signs. What did she say? Asked Michael. Lulu asked, what's the difference between roast beef and pea soup? Translated Miss Child. What? We all asked. Lulu made some signs. You can roast beef, Miss Child translated, but you can't pea soup. We all groaned. I don't get it, said Emily. Lulu's jokes are lame, I said. Lulu stood up and started to grunt loudly and stamp her feet. Why is she doing that? Asked Andrea. Lulu is mad because you kids can't laugh at her jokes, Miss Child told us. Well, that's because her jokes are terrible, said Ryan. Well, you should have laughed at them anyway, Miss Child told us. You hurt Lulu's feelings. Gorillas have feelings? Asked Neil, the nude kid. Of course they do, said Miss Child. All living creatures have feelings and blah, 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 blah. Lulu started making signs really fast to Miss Child. What did she say? Asked Neil, the nude kid. Lulu said, children are stupid, translated Miss Child. Ah, snap, said Ryan. Stupid is not a nice word, said Andrea. We're not supposed to say stupid. If you ask me, I said, Lulu shouldn't blame us just because her jokes are lame. Yeah, said Michael. She should learn some funnier jokes. I think Lulu is just in a bad mood today, said Miss Child. Lulu started making more signs with her fingers. Mr. Granite and Miss Hannah tried to put their hands over our eyes so we couldn't see them. Don't look, kids, said Mr. Granite. What is Lulu saying? I asked as I tried to pull Mr. Granite's hands off my eyes. Well, I can't tell you, Miss Child said. It's inappropriate for children. I think I saw Lulu make a sign that my dad once made to some guy in a car who cut him off in front of the highway. Lulu is using bad words, said Andrea. Ooh, I think Lulu is cursing in sign language, said Alexia. That's not very nice, said Emily. Lulu should watch her language, said Andrea. We wanted to stick around and find out what Lulu was saying, but Mr. Granite and Miss Hannah told us we had to get out of there and go see some of the other animals. Gorillas are weird. That ends chapters 4 through 6 of Miss Child Has Gone Wild. I will be back again to read a couple more chapters with you. I hope you're enjoying the book as much as I am. Again, it's Miss Child Has Gone Wild by Dan Gutman, and we're having permissions from Scholastic to read this out loud. See you next time.